Welcome everyone to Chiro Author Insights. I'm incredibly excited to have Dr. Bryce Fleming here. And before we go into some of his bio and some incredible insights that he has about being an author, I wanted to share with you, I had an incredible journey up to Sydney, met with Bryce, and he's such a giving, sharing, benevolent person. He's provided a lot of insights, both my practice, report of findings processes, how I run and operate my front desk system. So you're getting some insights from both an incredible chiropractor, wonderful author, successful practitioner, but a very amazing, giving and caring person. So before I give the introduction, thanks Bryce for being here. I really appreciate that.
Mate, thank you, Marcus. That was probably the most touching introduction I've ever had. So I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate everything the support you've provided, ongoing and really unrelenting. And particularly given some of the achievements you've had, I think it's really valuable. So for the people out there that are not as familiar with you, obviously a chiropractor, but also an author and professional speaker. The range that has gone to, and I've got your amazing, wonderful book here. I like there's some wonderful things that have been said about you that I think is really imperative that people know. Committed to writing the cause rather than writing the prescription. I know that that's been said about you. Your practice alignment health is in Sydney on the North Shore, and you've got so many other interest areas as well. You're the creator of this internationally recognised program, the 4 Weeks to Wellness program. The book has its relationship with that. You've been featured, on television, in the newspapers, on radio, and had many media interviews. You're an award-winning chiropractor, and so you've done so much, and your investment into chiropractic is so great. And today we're going to get an opportunity to explore how all of this comes about from your perspective, but also how that weaves into becoming an author as a chiropractor. So again, congratulations on everything you've done, and I'm excited to hear about, all of this in the context of chiropractic, so other chiropractors can look to what they can achieve, what they can do, and the impact they can have by extending their vision. So Bryce, tell us a little bit firstly about your journey and in particular leading to how the book came about.
Well, I'll talk about my journey first, about, I suppose, where I really got inspired to try and spread the message of chiropractic and the above, down, inside out philosophy. So I went to Macquarie University and graduated there some probably 12, 13, 14 years ago now. Gee, it gets away from you quick. And during my first year out at university, after university, I struggled quite a lot in practice. I found that the people I was looking after, I was very stuck in that mechanistic university model of chiropractic. And for a whole year, I was struggling away, trying to actually figure out how I could help people, and just failing miserably, to be honest. And it's funny, I got to this point where I was actually going to give up on chiropractic altogether. I thought that I couldn't get it. I couldn't help people. I was struggling. And then luckily, what I did is I moved up to Newcastle. I got offered a job up there with a great group of chiropractors at Healing Wave Chiropractic, which really, they took me under their wing and, mentored me properly and really showed me, I suppose, more about a vitalistic principle. And that really resonated with me, and I could then start to talk to my people and practice members at a different level, so that they could start to understand the bigger picture that really is, chiropractic and healthcare and all the other kind of cool benefits that come with looking after your spine and nervous system. So it was about, I was probably about 2 or 3 years into that part of the process in Newcastle, where I attended a James Chestnut seminar. And I remember literally listening to that first seminar. I can't remember if it was Eat Well, Move Well, or Think Well. I think it was an Eat Well one. And it fundamentally changed my value system about everything overnight. It was really quite, very impressive that James has the ability to do that. And that's what really sparked me to then be able to put some of this information, not just about nutrition and exercise, into a book, but really kind of bring that through with a chiropractic philosophy as well. And that's where the concept for this 4 Weeks to Wellness kind of came about, which is really taking the nutrition, the movement, the mindset, but then tying it all together with a properly functioning spine and nervous system into a 4-week type of process. So yeah, and that's where it all started. That's where I started just writing and just brain dumping all this information down as best as I could into a big mess of a draft book, if you will. And look, the process took, I'd probably say, about 3 years from start to finish to actually get everything from this big, as I said, compiled mess of writing into a finished product. Yeah, and then so after that, after I finished that journey, I moved back from Newcastle back to Sydney, and then started my own practice, as we talked about, and here we are. So, what would you like to know specifically, Marcus, about that process?
Yeah, look, I think that's a really interesting insight. I know, chiropractors tend to feel like it can be a really overwhelming task, and certainly saying that it took 3 years could give some level of credence to that thought and reinforce that belief. And it's important to know, one, that it's not necessarily an easy journey, but there are obviously ways of making it easier. And so that's something I encourage them to reach out, get a writing mentor and get support in that process. But when you said you did a brain dump, like right now, for those that can't see the book, I mean, I'm just going to flick through here. It's this, I don't know if you can see that, but it's beautifully elegant now. It's got, pictures, it's color, it's beautiful. So you said you brain dumped over a period of time. Were you intending to write the book, or was it this just integrating information? You'd learned so much from James. He's an incredible speaker, great presenter, authority of chiropractor. And so you've got all this knowledge, this information, you're delivering it within your practice, you're educating and impacting the health and lives of your patients. And so brain dumps coming through, but was it initially to write the book or to reinforce the lessons? Or was it really to start, as I said, to start designing a pathway forward through that?
Look, I think the benefit with writing the book. So I was never intending to be an author ever. It wasn't on my radar at all. But I think when the message is, as I said, bigger, the message is bigger than us. You have to kind of get it out some way. And I found that writing did a couple of things for me. It helped me to really structure the message that I was trying to explain. And simplify a lot of that message a lot of the time as well. But also it's very therapeutic, like it's something where once you start to coordinate all your thoughts and then create a physical product out of that, it does. It's like building a house or building, how do I describe it? Anything that you put your heart and soul into. And so that's the kind of experience that I went through. Now, would I have done it differently if I was to do it again? The answer is probably. So my experience was that I did all this and I self-published first. And I was lucky enough to be connected with the graphic designer, Anna, who was a friend of mine at the time. So she helped me make it all look beautiful, like you could see. And then that got picked up by the publisher because they said, hey, this is great, so we want to be a part of this. And then they stuck their brand on it and started putting it into the bookstores for us and doing all that. And then, the rest kind of takes care of itself a little bit. But in terms of the actual writing process and everything else, I had someone to help me. So I'm not actually great at English. In fact, I'm actually dyslexic. So and yeah, I've written a book being dyslexic. So I had to get some help. I got a co-author, I suppose, and my brain dump stuff, the material. He was in Hawaii, so I just sent him all the material, and then he helped me shape it into a better to understand language, so that again, the message could be easy to read for the person. Because for me, the message that we have, it can be very complicated if you want it to be. Or you can get it really simply. And if you're not a really good writer, well, there's people that can help you to do that, So yeah, that's my experience. But look, if I was going to do it again, as I said, I definitely would do things probably a little differently. It wouldn't take me 3 years this time. And in fact, you could probably get it done within 6 months to the same level of quality now that you know what you're doing. So yeah, so hopefully this what you're doing is going to help other people to learn from some of the mistakes that I did. Who knows?
That's the agenda. Well, I just want to come back to a point you said there, which is really, I think, both pivotal for the chiropractor and also potentially breakthrough for what opportunity it leads to. And that's that idea that you were just saying that it clarified, your chiropractic message. So if you weren't intending to write the book, but you wanted to get really clear on your message, what you want to say to your patients, the way that you want to communicate that. And I know I did that. I've got training manuals for my practice, and they're not books that they are written, they're my training manuals. So they're almost like, you'd call them scripts, but really what they are is when I would go out of a consultation, I'd say, oh, I should have said that. And I'd write it down. And then I'd look and say, that's not exactly what I want to say. What I'd rather say is this. I can get the message really succinct, really clear, and infused with the message that brings the greatest impact. And so I did that in my early career as well, allowing me to really be most effective with my initial consultations, my summation of what happened, my care plan delivery. And so if I did that within the process, and you've got all of these thoughts, you've gone to James Chestnut, you've done other courses, you've become a chiropractor training, and you're refining your thinking all of the time through the writing process of what you just, as you said, therapeutic, getting clear. I really love that idea. And even if you weren't going to write a book, it enhances your chiropractic communication, your messaging skill set. And then once you've done all of that, I think what you said there is also, and we spoke about this before, the message is bigger than us. And once you realize what you're sharing, what you're communicating, how you're educating, the impact that it's happening, and we know we've all experienced this as chiropractors. Someone comes in, they go, man, this makes perfect sense. Why didn't somebody tell me this before? So we have such a powerful message, something greater than all of us individually, which is collectively, chiropractic, man's greatest gift to man. And if you can communicate that in a powerful and compelling way, you've got an opportunity to not only transform your patients if they present to your practice, but now, as you've done, put it into a format, a book, a program that you can take out into the world and have even greater reach, even greater impact. And so, like you're speaking, I'm just thinking in my mind, that's a really powerful, compelling message, and it really documents just what I felt was being said there. So I just think that's great that you had that realization and that you were able to do it in that way. So moving on from my breakthrough, so thank you for sharing that. Moving on to your breakthrough, you've obviously written this book. It's 4 Weeks to Wellness. It's a specific program, and how have you been able to leverage that in your practice? What does it mean for you in tangible terms for the success of you as a practitioner, for a marketing activity within your practice, or even an education tool for the patients that come in?
Look, it's priceless, really, when you think about it. So in terms of, let's start with a marketing tool to begin with. There is no better business card than being able to give someone a full book and with your name on it and all the information and your philosophy and everything written in there. So straight away, the level of authority just goes from here to here. And the things that then can start to happen as a result of that level of authority, you start to get invited into doing other things as part of that. So, for example, I wrote this book. I remember giving it to someone who was part of TEDx. I got invited to do a TED talk. I got Pete Evans wrote the foreword to it. So, it's this roll-on effect that you have that, again, you're not even really trying to make happen, but it does happen because, you're starting to position yourself as that person that is knowledgeable because you can have something all written down here. So, look, as a marketing tool, it's a very good one, I would say. In fact, I think anyone with any level of passion and focus probably should write a book if they want to, really impact a greater community. That's a definite. In terms of how do I use it to support people? So as part of our process, so we have our initial consult, we have our report of findings, and then we have our information session, our Better Results Faster. There's lots of different names that people use for it. But what I do during that information session is everyone gets a copy of the book. They get a few other bits and pieces for attending the workshop. But then because you can use it as part of the education process, it gives them something that they can look back towards, and they start reading, and then they start talking about it, and then their family member kind of picks it up and goes, "What's this book you got?" "Oh, it's signed? Like, how'd you get a signed copy of this book?" And then they start flicking through it, and they're like, "Yeah, this makes a bit of sense. I might go call this guy. Like, do you reckon he could help with my XYZ? So, you know, it has this, as I said, it has this really powerful roll-on effect that, again, it wasn't ever intended, but it definitely works.
Brilliant. And because they're getting at a specific point during the consultation, it has really valuable information. It discusses the protocols that you use within your practices. It's 4 weeks of wellness, and you do chiropractic care, but you bring lifestyle change and education and specific diet, nutritional protocols and exercise protocols into your care plan as well. So it's a reinforcement of your care. It's an adjunct to your care, and it's a deep dive for the client to really deepen the value and connection that you build with them. So it's an integral part of your practice and your care plan. Would that be a fair understanding?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose the way that I've run or developed my practice as well is I have other people for the other components of the lifestyle factors. So in our practice at Alignment Health, we have obviously a chiropractor or a couple of chiropractors. But then we have a food coach, we've got personal trainers, we've got yoga teachers, we've got people that can really fill the roles of the other lifestyle elements. And I've done that very specifically so that it doesn't deviate away from the principle of chiropractic about the spine and nervous system. And we can start to utilize other people that are passionate about, you know, food and movement and everything else to support them during that part of the process as well. So for me, the way I find I get the best results with people is I'll set a program of care out. As I said, I go through the initial consult, report of findings, start to kind of gear them up towards some of these lifestyle concepts, but never force or really push any of that ever. It's more a case of people start to then ask about it during the time. And, you know, as you know, there's always that teachable moment. And if someone can ask you about it, it means they're willing to actually make a change. If you have to say, look, I want you to do this nutritional thing, they're going to look at you and go, oh, like it's just another burden, another thing I'm going to have to do if I'm not ready to do it. So, yeah, so for me, it's a very comfortable way of guiding people, because when they're ready, they go, oh, look, you know, I read this little thing in your book, or you obviously know a bit about nutrition as well. Like, what do I do? What do I need to eat? I go, you know what? We've got a food coach. He's great. He understands all this stuff in the book. I'll just tee you up an appointment with him and he'll take it and look after you, you know? And they're like, oh, that's fantastic. So that I can keep focus on, you know, subluxation and adjusting and you know, the vitalistic chiropractic principles that we do.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I think it's been really insightful. I do want to bring it to conclusion with just a thought that I'd like for you to share about what happens within you at that time when you're signing a book, giving it to a client. What does that mean for you emotionally? What feelings stir within you when people are so grateful to receive your book and you have that opportunity to share that really interpersonal moment of a book signing? So tell me what goes through your mind and your emotions at those times.
Do you know, when I'm signing it, honestly, I don't feel that much. It's when I see them take it, that's where you can see this real level of gratitude, you know, that it's hard to explain, but that's where the gold is in that moment. Because all of a sudden you've created a bond with someone, and it's not just because you've given them a physical piece of paper. It's because you've, you know, they've allowed you into their life to be able to give some information at the right time for them to then go on a journey, you know. And I'll tend to write things whenever I sign it, like, you know, I hope you enjoy the book and enjoy the journey, and, you know, and really outline that process. And it's very humbling to be a part of their journey as well. Which is probably one of the reasons why we do have a very good retention rate and all that kind of stuff, because it's a journey and you want to support them as best you can. And, you know, a book and being able to give that to them is a really important part of that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are both an incredibly humble and amazingly giving person. I know the patients in your clinic appreciate that. Your colleagues appreciate that. And Dr. Bryce Fleming, I appreciate your time today, your message, And as you said, we spoke about this earlier, the message is bigger than both of us. I'm grateful for you sharing your time, sharing this expertise and inspiring chiropractors again through the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Marcus. And look, I'd like to say a big thank you to you too, because it's, you're giving up your time and, I think what you're doing is a really powerful thing as well. And if you can inspire more chiropractors to be, again, just to bring themselves up a little bit more, then we all make a bigger impact in the community and our message gets out there nice and clear. So good on you. Good job.
Thank you very much. And I think we both agree that this message is bigger than all of us, and we have a job to do in serving our patients, our community, and the profession. And I think the chiropractic profession is unique in that regard, that we do love what we do and we do love to serve. And so I'm very grateful to be able to do that and going to continue doing that, because really that's what we're here for.
Yeah, no, agreed. Love it. All right, mate. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, mate. Take care.